Hey everybody, welcome to Living in St. Paul. My name is Todd Stocker and I run a real estate company here in the Twin Cities area, and I'm a licensed agent with eXp. And today I'm going to share with you 7 unique ways of making your real estate offer stand out to sellers in the St. Paul market. But first, make sure you subscribe to my channel on YouTube or iTunes, as this is a podcast now, and hit that button so you don't miss an episode. Well, you know that it is a seller's market for sure, not just here in St. Paul, but around the whole United States. And the reason for this is a combination of a couple of things, but 2 of the main drivers are low inventory of homes available to buy, but also an increase in buyers, and strongly due to lower interest rates, historically low interest rates. So it is a seller's market. And sellers are the drivers in the market right now in St. Paul and the surrounding areas. So if you're wanting to buy a home, not only do you have to be quick, but you have to be creative. So here are 7 creative ways of making your offer stand out over and above maybe some other buyers in the area. Now, these 7, just a caveat, these 7 are not necessarily what I all recommend, but these are 7 creative and unique things that I've seen other agents do. And so my advice, and very strong advice, is to connect with your local realtor and talk these through, and because not all of them work in all the different specific markets, but they are just things that I've seen out in the St. Paul area and the surrounding areas. So these are 7 creative ways of making your real estate offer stand out to sellers in the St. Paul area. Now, before I go through these 7, just a real strong caveat here. Make sure you're checking with your real estate agent on these. These are just 7 that I have seen other people using and agents using, and so I'm not necessarily condoning them, but it's just something that are some unique ways that you need to check with your real estate agent on. So let's go ahead and explore these. So number 7, and I always go 7 down to 1. Number 7 is, we've seen this a lot recently, is to write a personal letter to a seller. Now again, I'm just saying that this is what I've seen. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Check with your agent on this, but a simple way to increase your odds of getting your offer at least looked at is to write a personal letter to the seller. I had a friend of mine last year who was looking to get into a very nice home, nice area on Summit Avenue in St. Paul, and the offer that they made was actually less than other sellers or other buyers, the other offers that came in. But this person walked through a letter of how he could see the history of this old building and how he was excited to be continuing on to that history. So that was very helpful. Now, if the sellers lived in the house for many years, price might not be important. They may want to see that the person buying their home is a person that appreciates the home and the area. So write a personal letter to a seller. Number 6 is kind of a no-brainer. Offer above the asking price. Now, because it's a seller's market, oftentimes agents price at or just under now where the home value or the market is demanding a price, so that it can generate higher offers. Now, again, it's not a market, this doesn't always happen. If it's a buyer's market, it's kind of the opposite. But you have to make a strong enough offer to beat out multiple bid situations. A fellow realtor of mine had almost 20 offers on a house that they put up on Friday, and by Monday he had to call for final and best offer, and they were sifting through all these different offers. So make sure if you want to get the house, make sure that your offer is at or at least a little bit above the asking price at this point. And one thing about this too, it doesn't have to be an astronomical amount. It could just be $2,000, maybe $3,000 more in terms of an asking price to achieve the effect you're looking for. Making an offer above the asking price might end up costing you a little bit more money, but in the long run, it's the home that you want. You're beating out other buyers, and you'll hopefully get the offer. Number 5 is something that not a lot of people are aware of. It's called an escalation clause. So number 5 is add an escalation clause to your offer. So an escalation clause means that your offer will outbid other offers up to a maximum price. So it means that you're making an offer and you're saying to a homeowner, I'll pay X for the price of the home. But if a higher offer comes in, you can increase it in increments to another price, to Y, okay? And up to a certain price. So keep in mind though, even if you do provide an escalation clause, it may be in the best interest of the seller to issue a counter offer, so that this escalation doesn't take off a counter offer situation. So if you decide to move forward with this option, again, make sure you consult not only your real estate agent for sure, but potentially if you have a real estate lawyer involved too, that would be another thing with the escalation offer. Number 4, in terms of creative way or unique ways to get your offer accepted, is to put down a stronger earnest money deposit. Typically, a lot of people put down $1,000 to get the contract in with the purchase agreement. But if you offer a stronger earnest money deposit, that actually shows the seller that you're more intentional or you're more serious about really, really wanting their home, the home. But make sure when you do that, you have good documentation that it's in the contract, because once you've signed that contract and all the contingency timelines are done, that money is rightfully, once the transaction closes, rightfully the seller's. So you may lose that earnest money deposit. But again, if you can afford it, if you can do it, a strong earnest money deposit is really a great way to go. Number 3 is a little bit more on the personal side for the seller. If you can discover some of the seller's motivation for selling and moving, that can help the agent structure and help you structure the offer. So price, again, like I said, it isn't the only factor in the seller's consideration. Sometimes it's important for them to close quickly, or for example, if somebody has another job in another city, they have another home they've already purchased, those kinds of things. For others, they just may need more time before closing. So if you have flexibility on your end, you might be able to make an offer and say, instead of a 30-day close or 45-day close, you might push it to 60. With, again, that earnest money on the line, but still, you can do that. There are different other ideas with sale leasebacks to sellers. Again, check with your real estate agent on that. So that's number 3, discover the motivation. Now, before I get to number 2, I want to go back to what I said at the beginning of this video. These are things that I've seen in the market, and number 2 is one that I actually don't recommend. Again, as a buyer, you are in the driver's seat. We as agents and our company is there to help you navigate and give you the best information and encouragement. But number 2 is this, in terms of a creative way to get your offer accepted by a seller. Number 2, and I've seen this with some people, is that they waive the inspection contingency. So an inspection contingency is an amount of time after the contract's accepted where you can go in, you can have a contractor go through, you can have an inspector go through and take a look at the home to see if there's any major glaring things wrong with the home. And if that happens and they're identified within that time period, you could actually back out of the contract. Again, to waive that time period to not look at a home, I don't care even if it's a new build. I personally, as an agent, do not recommend this. But again, it is something you can talk to your agent about if you're comfortable doing that. Again, this is going to increase your risk because if you don't learn something about the condition of the home, then you're on the line for not only the earnest money if you decide not to close, but also then you have the home fix up after you close on the home. And so the last one is this. Number 1 is this. Make sure you're working with a strong agent with either years of experience or they have people around them that form either an actual team within their office, or there's a conglomeration of agents together and professionals together that you can be assured are helping you out and working in your best interest as a buyer. Now, the first one is obvious, the person with a lot of experience, but the second one, the person on an actual team or people that are forming a team around them, may be a better fit for you because you have more minds coming in on the transaction and helping you out as a buyer. So those are 7 unique ways and creative ways to help your offer stand out amongst all the offers on a home. And again, these are just ones that are just I've seen in the market. I've seen other agents doing and other buyers and sellers doing. I don't condone all of them or any of them except for the number one, which is get a good agent. And speaking of that, if you are relocating to St. Paul, or if you live in the area and you want to get a different house upgrade or even downgrade to a different home, make sure you connect with me. All my information is down below, and I'd love to help you out and talk through the different options of selling your home or buying your home. So those are the 7 unique ways. We'll see you next time.